Recently, I've been reviewing a bunch of Sonic games from my childhood that I haven't fully played or completed in years. Whether I had fond memories or bad memories of them, I've come out the other side with a more positive opinion about every Sonic game I've covered so far. I've been wanting to actually play and finish Sonic Generations for a while. I haven't beaten this game since the year it came out. I was 11 when this game dropped and it's been 12 years. Time's a bitch, ain't it? So I took the initiative, finally sat down and blasted through Sonic Generations recently. The one constant thing about this game that I've seen and heard from other people is that it's a masterpiece, very close to being one. For many, it's one of the very best Sonic games, and for others, it's nothing more than an above average outing in a decade of Sonic filled with self-deprecating memes, awful meta humor, and lackluster games. Where I stand will become clear by the end of this video. The story of Sonic Generations sees Sonic and his younger self, Classic Sonic, alongside Tails and his younger self, stuck in white space after encountering a beast known as the Time Eater. The Time Eater travels through time and space, dumping off a collection of places and events from Sonic's past in this area called white space. The two Sonics use their speed to restore color to the worlds, reversing the Time Eater's effect on them. The group save a bunch of Sonic's friends who are present at his birthday party, and together they find out that it was Eggman and his classic self, Robotnik, who were controlling the Time Eater. The two blue hedgehogs go super and defeat the Eggman before sharing a goodbye and a nice little scene at the end of the game. This story doesn't have much going on, and that sucks since it's supposed to celebrate Sonic's 20-year anniversary. These two games aren't the same, but I can't help but think about Sonic Adventure 2's story, a perfect display of the fast-paced action-adventure that the writers of Sonic Team are capable of creating for the Blue Hedgehog. A story that hits all the emotional beats and doesn't slow down for one reason or another. I don't get the same feeling from Generations. A lot of the cutscenes are short, and while that's not a problem, a good 90% of them are just Tails and his classic self expositioning, while 5% shows the two Sonics doing cool shit, and the other 5% is the two Eggmen expositioning. I wanted more interaction between classic Sonic and the modern cast that weren't just 20-second cutscenes. Some are funny, I will say that. It also seems like some cutscenes are out of order. The gameplay loop involves playing 2 acts across 9 worlds with a boss fight every 3 worlds. By the third section of this game, there's a cutscene where Sonic and his classic self chase a red emerald in white space, and classic Sonic flips out seeing modern Sonic use his air boost move. A fun scene, but why does this happen now? The first act had an enjoyable build-up to the two eventually meeting, and the second act sees them work together. Why would classic Sonic suddenly be surprised to see this so late into the game? Sadly, the story of Sonic Generations feels flat with not much to take in. The lack of plot substance ironically is what sticks out. I'll tell you what isn't flat: the gameplay. The most important part of any video game, and especially a Sonic game. Sonic Team nailed it here. As previously mentioned, you travel through 9 different worlds: Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, Speed Highway, City Escape, Seaside Hill, Crisis City, Rooftop Run, and Planet Wisp. Each of these worlds have 2 stages. Act 1 is a classic 2D Sonic stage, and Act 2 is the adrenaline-filled goodness of Boost Sonic. The classic stages are up and down for me. They follow the same conventions of old 2D Sonic games. Top path for those who are skilled enough and have good reflexes to speed through stages, while bottom paths are slower and filled with more traps and enemies. Sometimes the levels are pretty linear, but that's not much of a problem. Some are just simply better than others. Rooftop Run Classic, for example. In my opinion, it's the best classic Sonic stage, but it's not like this level has an amazing flow of alternate pathways to take. It's just a fun romp with some awesome set pieces and amazing music. Classic Sonic stages feel fine, but his jump feels weird. I miss the old days of floaty jumps in Sonic games. Both classic and modern Sonic have weird jumps, and it's a little frustrating seeing times where I should be able to clear a gap or get to a higher area just not be possible because the jump feels nerfed. Modern Sonic has the best iteration of boost gameplay to this date. Levels are designed for you to go fast, but they also give the space to explore and find different pathways. Modern Sonic by himself has some awful controls when he's not boosting, so I was using a mod that makes him turn better when he's just running. Levels like Seaside Hill are really good. A great example of how to construct boost stages. Not too long, feels big without being overwhelming, and gives the player the space to go fast and explore without forcing you to do one of the other for sections at a time. This level is so good, in fact, that I found myself not always boosting when going through different pathways, but still got that sense of speed. Crisis City is another great example of this. A platforming intensive level, but the flow of it was so good, and I was rewarded with a boost section at the end. Modern Sonic stages are easily the best the boost formula ever got. You can trick off ramps, slide, drift, sidestep, and it all feels really good. This gameplay feels like what I would imagine Sonic Rush would be like in a 3D setting actually. My only gripe is that the homing attack doesn't always work. Sometimes I'll find that my homing attack hasn't locked onto anything, so I fall to my death. It didn't happen too much to make me angry, but it's oddly clunky here. I also don't like that doing a homing attack with nothing nearby just kills your speed. Sonic drops like a rock after doing one. I just want to say, Planet Wisp sucked for both acts. I don't really like the Wii version of Colors, didn't like Planet Wisp in that game, and it's worse here. It felt like a chore playing these levels, and I can't for the life of me think of why they chose this level. Aquarium Park or Tropical Resort would have been much better choices. I can say that for a good bit of the levels that were chosen, to be honest. A lot of the levels are city levels, and I get that they're all popular stages, but I honestly would have preferred Twinkle Park over Speed Highway, and Cool Edge or Dragon Road over Rooftop Run. Regardless of stage selection, all these levels look great. I always say it, but Sonic games almost always look good, and to this day, Sonic Generations is still one of the best looking in the entire franchise. I love how in some stages there are Easter eggs referring to other characters like Team Hooligan missing posters and places named Amy's Market. While the story may not live up to the 20th anniversary billing, the Easter eggs found in other features of the game do make up for it to some extent. There's also a mission mode, but I don't have much to say about it. You need to do some in order to unlock keys for boss levels. Modern and Sonic each get 5 for every zone, so 10 in total, which means there's a hefty amount of missions. From having Knuckles dig up gold coins, to using Blaze to put out fires in Crisis City, to simply racing a ghost. The mission variety is good and gives you something extra to do outside the main gameplay loop. You can unlock abilities in these missions and equip them after buying them in the skill shop. You can even customize loadouts if you hit the max number of points to spice up your gameplay experience, so that's a cool feature. You also fight a mini boss every 3 worlds as well. Metal Sonic, Shadow, and Silver in that order. These are fine. Like everything else in this game, they're super easy but enjoyable nonetheless. The music is stellar. Shocking, right? Seriously though, I haven't listened to the Sonic Generations soundtrack in almost a decade, and I'm surprised it's been that long. I found myself humming along perfectly to a good bit of the stage music. Rooftop Run's classic theme is my favorite track in the entire game. You can view music in this cool little red room all the way to the left of the hub world. You can also view cutscenes and art here that you unlock by finding music notes in the hub world and collecting red rings in the stages. This room has that iconic remix of the Door into Summer theme from Knuckles Chaotix, and while I personally prefer the original composition, I love this version as well. Even the 3DS version of this game had some great remixes from what I can remember. They went all out with the music for this game. I even vividly remember rocking out to the Supersonic Racing remix. I had a blast reliving these memories through the music. I'd say Sonic Generations is a top 5 soundtrack in the franchise. Maybe I'll make a video about that one day. Sonic Generations is a game that, while it wasn't a classic staple of my younger years the same way other Sonic games were, it definitely left an impact on me. Its gameplay, fan service, and excellent music makes it one of the best Sonic games in those aspects, but I truly do feel like the lackluster story, with its odd pacing and little substance beyond references to the past, holds this game back from being as great as it should have been. While its gameplay is great, a mixture of subpar stage choices and some levels just being abysmal are factors that also lessen the experience for me. With all that's been said, is Sonic Generations still a great game all these years later? I say no, but it's really good. Its positives outshine its negatives, especially in the gameplay department. The story is whatever, but the fan service that you get from going for full completion is great. It's not the best attempt at a 20th anniversary title, but Sonic Generations is a damn good game at the end of the day. Shout out to everyone who voted on the poll. It's nice to get feedback like that from a lot of people, and to those of you watching, I'd like to see what you guys have to say about Sonic Generations, so share your thoughts in the comments below. Click the links on the screen for more Sonic goodness. With that, I'm gone. Peace.